Cap energy.
That's part of it now.
I mean, you're the one that's editing it, so it'd be your problem.
Damn right. What's up, everyone? This is Disassembled. It's the official podcast of the Big Glasgow comic page, and it is Saturday, July 10th, and we're all here. I'm here. It's me, Ian. I'm your host. I got also Massimo is also here.
I'm back again from a slight hiatus of like a week or 2 weeks, but I'm back.
He went on vacation, a luxury some people are afforded.
No, I didn't go on vacation. I was working. No vacation.
He went to work.
Vacay work.
He went to work like a sucker.
Roasted.
I don't know why that's set to infinite play. And whatever. Ben's here. Hello.
Hello.
Ben.
Ahoy, hoy.
Hello. Ben is back. Guess who's back? Back again. Ben is back for the third or fourth week or something.
Yeah, it's a streak now.
All of these podcasts blur together for us. We don't know what episode we're on.
I don't know what
dream. Yeah.
I don't know what day it is. I only know it's Saturday because I looked at my calendar.
I only know Saturday gets my day off.
Well, look at you. I'm going to work in like 3 hours. I'm going to go futz around in the warehouse and take people their shit to their car.
Just literal handfuls of shit.
Yeah.
Literal handfuls of that's what people buy at stores and at electronic stores. I would like to buy some shit.
We live in a society. Yeah,
we do. Speaking of societies, that's not a real segue. We're going to talk about Star Wars again this week.
Come on, man.
Nailed it.
I know, it's like I'm not even trying.
Yeah. So
Star Wars is about a society that's been overtaken by a fascist empire. So they live in a society that is fascist.
Segue.
Rebels rise up. We're going to talk about the original trilogy this week, and we're going to rank those, which I have a weird feeling isn't going to be as lengthy a discussion as the prequels, because everyone knows who the good ones are in the original trilogy.
You'd think.
And no one's going to have dissenting opinions. We're all going to agree. It's going to be a perfect harmony. Oh, yeah. Also, Rogue One. Spoilers. It's not the best one.
But it ain't the worst.
We'll see about that.
In my opinion.
Well, I guess, even a correct clock is wrong twice a day.
Before we get into it, just... so we're on track with the rankings. So, Mash, you weren't here last week. Do you want to give your ranking on the prequels?
Yeah, I shall. Well, so here's the thing. Okay, I like my Star Wars. I like my lightsabers. I like my Jedis. However, I haven't actually seen Solo. I know the film has been out for fucking how long at this point, but I still haven't seen it. So technically, my rankings exclude Solo. As an option. But if we're just going off the prequels, going from the bottom, the worst one for me has got to be Phantom Menace. Okay, Joseph Fate's cool, Darth Maul cool, all cool ideas, terribly executed. Okay, I'm good with not having the slightly racist caricature of the guy with the big nose whose name completely escapes my mind at the moment. Who is the flying? Right, I don't even know what to call it. I can't remember what it's called.
Flying rat.
Watto, yeah.
Yeah, Watto. Yeah,
kind of like he's got like a rat face.
Yeah, a flying rat. That's.
I had no idea who you were talking about there. I was like, what
yeah,
film did you
sorry,
see?
yeah. Watto is.
I knew who you were talking about. I just wasn't going to dignify it by giving it a name.
Yeah, thanks.
No,
it's a name. Yeah,
I'm a big Star Wars,
and it's pod racing. Is all the memes of the banter.
Hey man, now this is pod racing.
But Jar Jar Binks, not for me. Not my cup of tea. So yeah, that's why it has a bottom spot. But one of the most iconic lightsaber duels of all time, which is why it's an alright film. And if you just watch that, and also a fantastic piece of music as well associated with that as well. But yeah, no, not great. I then going into second position for the prequels is Revenge of the Sith, because of course it's Revenge of the Sith. It's not so bad, not so good. It's in the middle. It technically caps off, and we have the famous etc.
Someone didn't watch last week's podcast.
I didn't. I've been
So
busy.
you're about to say that Attack of the Clones is your favorite, and I'm about to kick you off this goddamn show.
Yeah, I am going to say Attack of the Clones because of the giant fucking battle scene. And
That
Mace
doesn't
Windu.
excuse the rest of that movie being boring as shit.
Oh man, I love my lengthy expeditional dialogue.
Oh, do you love the part where they're sitting in a field talking about sand?
So I'll be honest. I'll be honest. For the prequels, there's not much that differentiates the ranking of them, in my opinion. So it doesn't matter which order I put them in; they're all still just absolutely fine to terrible films. I'll be honest. So like, my opinion is pretty much worthless because I have no strong thing. I think there are
all
great
of these
bits.
films range from middling to bad, but I won't tell you which one is middling and which one is bad. Here at BGCP, we have strong opinions that we back.
We're not fence sitters. No, to be honest, like I feel like there are
this hill, not for me to die on.
There are films. All three of those films. If they had all the good bits of that trilogy and put them into one film,
they'd be about an hour long.
Exactly, it would be a competent, enjoyable hour-long film, and it would actually be fun. But yeah, so that's my opinion. Solo, no idea. Partly was okay. Haven't seen it. Didn't go to the cinema to go see it.
How do you feel about the implication that Lando Calrissian has a past? Fucking robots.
Jesus.
It's a very Donald Glover thing of him to do. It's very childish Gambino.
I guess it is.
Hey, we don't discriminate here. Pansexuality. Go for it.
This is...
Robosexuality?
Yeah.
This is
Corellia. Pansexuality.
Yeah. It's the guy who gives a place to robots.
Should have said as well.
What
was your kind of earliest memories of Star Wars growing up?
It would have been because I am the youngest member of the BGCP. The prequels were just coming out as I was born.
Uh-huh.
So by the time I was able to watch stuff, everything was pretty much out on DVD. So I definitely have at that point fonder memories of the original trilogy. But also as well, big early memory, the Star Wars Lego games for the PS2.
Oh, of course, yeah. We didn't even touch on that, actually.
My earliest Star Wars memory is when The Force Awakens came out when I was 15.
Right, you're right.
Yeah,
but
I'm right.
I want to go see that in cinema. It's great. Just episode 4, but new.
We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah. Honestly, for me, it was the games and stuff like that, which arguably do a better job at translating the prequel trilogy than any sort of other media has done since or before that.
Talk about my man Kyle Katarn.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so good.
That's my boy Darth Revan.
All those,
or my girl Darth Revan, depending on how you played.
Yeah. Kotar.
Yeah.
So with my rankings in the mix as well, what does that actually put the points total at, Ben?
So with your rankings. So I did a quick tally.
I don't even know what this says here because
it's in Benjamin's like pig Latin. Like...
How dare you? I put it in brackets.
It's
tally.
Okay, because I can't. Are you tallying? Are you like having them split by fives? Is that what you're doing?
What he's doing is he's taking the position they're in.
Yeah, you can't do like when you do it the 4, then you can't do a slash across it. So
it's the position they're in across the board. So it'll be like if it ranks 2, it gets 2 points. So if it ranks the top, it gets 3 points.
So you got okay. So you put.
I didn't do nothing. We all did this ourselves. This is. There's no shenanigans.
You put Revenge at number 2. You put Attack at. Wait.
No. So yeah, basically look at the actual numbers.
Yeah. So the numbers. The numbers are just the same.
So in last place right now, it's Attack. That's countering in where that's with yours as well, Mass.
So it's Phantom, right? No.
Because the rest of us all said the Attack of the Clones suck. So yeah.
I want to hit that movie with a stick until it dies.
So in last place right now, it's 7 in the ranking. coming up after that joint is Solo and Phantom Menace, and right now, my boy, Revenge of the Sith. Sith? Sith. That's because you haven't seen Solo, so we don't know what your ranking is for that yet.
Yeah, exactly. So at some point I will probably watch it, maybe.
It's a technicality. Yeah.
It's technicality. It's not a working technicality. But yeah, no. So that's my opinions on the prequel trilogy. As you can see, I'm very strongly passionate about those films.
Yes. Means a lot to you personally.
Yeah.
Means a lot. You remember sitting by the fire as a child with a warm cup of tea or whatever the hell you drink, and
blue milk,
warm cup of beer.
A cup of beer.
Little 9-year-old Massimo with a piping hot glass of
mulled wine,
rich Italian wine.
I just picture like a baby, but with the same Massimo head.
Yes, we've actually had this exact discussion before. I'm pretty sure. Somehow, baby Massimo is actually a running joke on this show. And
I mean, it is. Have you seen the thumbnails for the past few weeks? Like,
yep.
Jesus,
boy, little child Massimo somehow still with a beard. We don't understand it.
Daniel is savage.
No one does. Life finds a way.
He was built different, you know. That's what they say.
But yeah, no.
I the womb with all that hair.
I enjoy Star Wars.
Like a wolf man.
As a collective source of shut up, man. Wolf man. I'm a fucking Wookiee is what I am.
Yeah. Topical.
Big coat. That's it. Woo.
Synergy.
Good one.
Yeah.
So obviously you guys, whoever's listened to this has heard all the previous
15
things.
of you.
All 15 of you have heard the previous ideas of what we thought about the prequels. And as Ian started off the top of this episode we're discussing the original trilogy in Rogue One. And we also have Dan, who, if you're a long-time listener, is our other host. He has put his rankings as well, so we will actually have a kind of definitive list this week at the very end.
Dan says his rankings are number 4, Rogue One, number 3, A New Hope, number 2, Empire, number 1, Return of the Jedi. He's wrong, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, I didn't want to say earlier, but yeah, I'll say.
He needs to swap like all of those, but Rogue One.
He can't defend himself.
I'm interested in like why he chose Return of the Jedi. Obviously, I'll have a personal thing. I'm interested in hearing that.
Why would you choose the second most boring original trilogy film as your number 1? I don't get it.
Anyway, so who's starting off our amazing original trilogy ranking list?
Here's how it is.
Okay.
I'm about to learn, you children.
Learn as good, sir.
Empire Strikes Back is the best one, and you're wrong if you disagree.
It's on the number.
We're over. It's over. The show's over.
Is it though?
Empire is. It's yes.
Yes, it is. Empire is the best one.
I made a list.
Followed closely by A New Hope, because you got to respect the OG. You got to respect.
I mean, you're wrong, but that's fine.
Here, listen. Respect your elders. All right, so the thing about A New Hope is it's weird compared to its sequels because it's missing a bunch of stuff. You don't have the Imperial March. You don't see the Emperor. It's very it could have stood alone as its own movie, and if it wasn't successful, it's just it. That's a thing they made in 1977 or 79 or one of those 2 years. It's the fact that there had never been anything like it before in theaters ever. The way it was made, the inspirations for it, it is the groundwork being laid for everything that would follow. Is it the most boring movie? Yes. Absolutely.
Oh, 100%. How are we working this? Are we just doing like broad roundtable discussion, or we want to list off where we kind of put them?
I mean,
we'll do discussion first, and then we'll give our official rankings at the end.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. I think that's how we did it last week. That's right. It was a week, not last month, not last year, not last day, yesterday.
So when you say that, I have a list of things.
Of course you do,
because
you're prepared, and
I am prepared. So I think,
as the host, I maintain the authority to just rattle shit off the top of my head.
Exactly, you do. I completely agree. I think the New Hope, amazing opening, absolutely iconic. Start of the trilogy, so jumping off point in the fantastic world building that was established by Lucas and co. and kind of, as you said, basically defined a whole, genre of movies and films. I'm going to kind of, these are all over the place because, like, just the way I was thinking off the top of my head was iconic. One of the most iconic scenes, the trench run, right?
Yeah.
The first trench run, iconic scene,
True.
but also technically, like from a filmmaking standpoint, at the time, has some of the most amazing special effects ever to be put to camera for 1977.
Yeah.
It's the most.
And we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that extended. We're not talking about that re-release.
So,
we ain't looking for that 1996 CGI.
Yeah,
I'm talking about those miniatures, son.
Exactly.
I don't know why that. I don't know. What
obviously, made on a shoestring budget, right?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, and the stories behind production. Like, they only had so many models of the Death Star they could use, so they only had so many times they could capture a certain scene with the models. The way in which they done the title scroll was using plate glass and reflecting it off of stuff and then scrolling it across. Like, how batshit insane that is.
I still, like, that was, like, it really was. No one had ever seen anything like it before. And granted, to appreciate that, you kind of have to watch it with that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I rewatched it last night because it's the one I've seen probably the least in my time.
Really?
Yeah.
The most, actually.
Like, because of the kind of popular stance on Empire being the best one, like, that's what I watched on Star Wars Day, just there, to kind of get a grip on that. And then I think after that, I was still just in the mood, so I went, I'm just going to watch Return of the Jedi as well. So I kind of missed out on New Hope, and that's generally how things play out for me. But rewatching it this time, it had like a kind of, I was so trying to be in the mindset of, this is a new experience, like I don't know anything prior to this. It's so hard when I could do lectures on the tiniest details of Star Wars.
Yeah.
But,
this is what I have as my thing as well, is the only reason the film ranks where it does for me, because I'll tell you where it ranks, I won't get to that point, is by all standards it was improved by its predecessors.
Yes. In hindsight, that's kind of how we get it.
That's kind of why it goes to number 2 for me, is because it is the least exciting of the 3.
I don't know,
but it's also
there's a lot
most
in it.
Important.
I think
there's a lot of stuff in it.
A lot of dialogue.
And there's
a lot in it. I mean, how, like, when it comes down to it, how much of that film is etched in your brain forever? The cantina scene, the music, Han shot first.
So
McClunky.
I have McClunky. I put that in my positive
non-canon.
The Disney Plus.
In my negative list, because I have a negatives for these. These are all in capitals, and it is
so bad.
Han shot first, and you can't tell me otherwise.
But he snapped his neck in the process, so nobody wins.
You can't tell me otherwise that Han Solo shot first, and if you say anything, Jesus, go fuck yourself.
And just do better.
Agreed.
So this is what I wrote at the time. Oh God, Mos Eisley's an eyesore. Strip back the CGI, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to see what's going on during that scene. Because if you watch any of the re-releases, Jesus Christ, everything that Lucas added to that film completely detracts away from it.
The only acceptable way to watch the original trilogy at this point is to go download the despecialized editions.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what that puts up. That's what it is.
Yeah. I think that'll be next Star Wars Day for me, just try and look them out.
Who farms moisture on a desert planet? That was my.
They have to farm moisture. Where else are they gonna get it?
God,
that's just logic. Use your common sense.
But guys, it's Blue Harvest, and they're harvesting blue milk. That's what harvest is.
We got to get a power converter.
Speaking of power,
I don't know.
Speaking of Toshi Station,
from where?
Toshi Station. Speaking of that, God, Whiny Luke, I did not miss this guy.
He's not
Luke Skywalker sucks.
He's all right.
Luke Skywalker is my least favorite part of Star Wars.
Bloody hell! Mark Hamill can talk fast.
Yeah.
There's a whole scene later on, and I can't even quote it, but he's brought it up since. And if you put it out into a tweet, it's 140 characters long with no spaces, and it's just one big line of dialogue. He takes no pauses.
I gotta go to Tashi Station and pick up a power converter.
There's a lot
and
of
here's my final negative.
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry, just to kind of top.
We're just kind of off the beat, but yeah, go for it.
The final negative: the greatest duelist with a lightsaber ever. Come on, Kenobi. He gets. You telling me that guy like 30 years ago jumped around and? No. Come on, man.
That reminds me. Did you guys see?
Let's see if you fight with a sword that well when you're like 92.
He does. He cuts Maul in half a second time in the Clone Wars. We've seen it happen.
Yeah.
It's different when you're CGI.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of how they'll explain this when they do the Kenobi series. Like, did you just start having crippling back pain?
All right, I'll tell you how they're going to explain it. They won't.
No,
we're just going to not talk about it. That is my prediction on how they're going to explain that. Like anything else from the original trilogy, if there's something new they make that contradicts it, they're just going to keep on rolling.
No. We've seen Solo.
Yeah. I kind of cut you off, Ben. What were you going to say before I put in the greatest duelist that ever lived with a lightsaber doing terribly?
Can't remember that, but what I was going to say about that was, did you guys see someone did a reimagining of that whole fight scene?
Yes.
They made it super like CGI, but it's really incredible. Well done. Like flying through walls and stuff, and it looks awesome.
That is really impressive.
Put that in the Disney version.
Can we say we'll leave a link to that in the Discord? The description below. Can we say that?
If we're
let's see why not.
If we can find that, we'll put a link because it is. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely
awesome.
Let's go pause the video right now and go watch it. Leave a like on that video, then leave a like on our video.
Yeah. Exactly. Come back
if this comes out in video form.
Do one of those things where you comment and said BGCP brought me here.
Comment and subscribe and be like, you guys suck. Why am I here?
Honestly, all interaction is good interaction. If you want to tell us how much you hate our guts, please.
If you want to shit all over my name, that's fine with me.
Do you want to make fun of this face? Go ahead.
Nobody can make fun of that face.
Not further than it's already been made fun of.
I would never. A couple of caterpillars over your eyes.
It's beautiful. I was going to say, but New Hope.
A mask of masculinity.
Oh, I was going to say, I never noticed before. C-3PO was so cheeky in the first film.
Yeah,
he's
a real sarcastic son of a bitch. He's like, hey, R2-D2, go fuck yourself.
Basically, yeah, he just keeps calling him
an idiot, you dickhead, and then gets.
You're all gonna die.
He pretty much does the Christian Bale, like, oh, what is it? He's on the set of the Terminator, just like, oh, good for you. Oh, I want to see that now. C-3PO is Christian Bale.
Good for you.
But it's like there was like a
look at you rolling around on your wheels. I have feet.
Oh, look, it's a slightly elevated surface. How are we going to get up there, R2? Oh.
How did I get in this oil bath? I don't know. We didn't really cover that. Oh, what's an oil bath? What is this? I'm covered in oil. My arms only do this.
There's such a weird, like, casual vibe he has, because when he initially speaks to Baru, saying like, oh, okay, like, he straight up goes like, oh yeah, man, I'm totally the man for the job. If you need all this, like, yeah, I'm your man. Yeah.
Yo, check it out. My name's C-3PO. I totes speak like 90 languages. What up? What up?
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. He's so casual and cool about it.
I'm gonna come work on your moisture farm. Yeah. This my homie.
I can't do the finger assist.
They see him rolling.
For
the record, the budget for A New Hope was $11 million US dollars, which sounds like a lot.
Yeah, that's buttons.
But
is that adjusted for inflation?
I have no idea. I didn't ask the internet that. Adjusted for inflation.
I think, while you look at that, it might just be recency bias again, but rewatching it, I thought it was like it was a very eventful film, and I mentioned before how like Attack of the Clones, a big positive of it was that it felt lived in. It felt very lively, with the whole kind of Blade Runner-esque city going on. I got that same kind of vibe here, not in a Blade Runner sense, but the whole Tatooine scene, like it feels
It feels vibrant.
It feels vibrant, and
think...
it's like Tatooine and even the Death Star when they're loading Chewie into the elevator. There's so many people that just walk by, and
so
like it's so interesting. Yeah,
this is the thing that I feel like the other films lose that appears in that film is, as you say, it's the feel of a world that's lived in. All of the rest of them's because they focus so heavily on the Skywalker saga, it feels like, and which is why it's one of the greatest positives for Rogue One as well, which we can talk about as well when we talk about that. It's a world that feels lived in, and a world that isn't centrally based off of the story of one big family's domestic dispute. Which at the start, and that, because think about it, if you take that as Ian said, as Star Wars being its own film separately, there is no Skywalker saga, there is no Leia and Luke being Vader's children.
It's just, here's the bad guys, here's the good guys, and they fight.
Yeah, exactly. Fight. It's just the son of a guy who used to be a Jedi has been given the power of, discovered he's been forced by his old, a friend of said old Jedi, and he now has to fight the big baddies. It's very much like, at that point, he's an underdog. He's not Luke Skywalker, the son of Anakin Skywalker, or, the greatest Jedi ever. He's just a kid with a lightsaber who is a bit shit.
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan Kenobi's not old Ben Kenobi. Yeah. I had to rewind that line so much because it's so funny. Obi-Wan Kenobi? What if he means old Ben Kenobi?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it's that hard to put that together.
Yeah.
I mean,
they have the same last name.
Hey, man, that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
How many Kenobis do you know that live in a desert? In a town? Oh, of course. You crazy Americans. Honestly, I just want to fire on my ratings because I feel like I'm tiptoeing around it. I feel like I have some hot takes. Okay, so I'll start from the bottom. And my bottom film is Episode 4. And
hot take.
Many of the reasons that we've mentioned. Thank you very much. That was very quick. For many reasons, it is one of those things. As we've already said, it is the world building. It's fantastic. It's great. But at the same time, it is that film where it has aged poorly in comparison to the rest of them. It's still an evergreen film, but not nearly as much evergreen.
It kind of reminds me. It kind of reminds me when I was watching it. It had like a Princess Bride kind of vibe. There's a lot going on. It's really fun to be a part of it. Like you feel like you are a part of it, but it is just kind of like, this is so weird. It's quite hard to like really invest yourself in it. It's just all these weird radical characters. Still enjoyable though. Yeah.
Like it has some of the most iconic things of the trilogy: trash compactor scene, trench run, but in context with the rest of the films, it's even better. Like that's the thing. Like as a separate film, it does work, but it isn't nearly as good as what the other ones could be.
Yeah.
So in third place,
scaffolding.
It's scaffolding. It's very much scaffolding that holds up the rest of all of the 9 bazillion movies and spin-off series and whatever and books and whatever it is. In third place, I put Rogue One. Okay, so Ian, you could be scowling at me. Yeah. I think, as I said before, fresh take on the Star Wars universe, focusing on other characters beside the Skywalkers. It actually feels like there's stakes in this film, although the outcome is obviously inevitable.
Going into it, that was probably like a big thing. Like, we know none of these people are surviving.
But it still is competent enough that it feels like there is actual stakes in it. Like it suspends your disbelief enough that you're able to root for these characters and not believe them to be basically dead meat in a universe kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, and it also, in doing so, bridges the gap between Episode 4 and the prequels trilogy. I guess kind of serves as a good bridge gap. So. Less space magic in this film and more fun heist shenanigans, which is great.
There's a little bit of space magic.
A little bit, but not nearly with, I am one with the Force and the Force is one with me. But take notes, The Last Jedi. This is how you do heists in space. None of your whatever, Benicio Belt, what's his face? Benicio Del Toro and all that. Yeah, none of that shit with The Last Jedi. None of that bollocks with going to Casino Planet and not utilizing it. No, this is a fun heist film where
don't you want to free some dog creatures though?
Exactly. We have some awesome, and by extent, we have an intriguing cast of characters with interesting backstories. I hate to say it, I'm not going to be able to name any of them off the top of my head because it has been a wee while since I've seen Rogue One. And I feel terrible for not being.
There's Star Wars British girl that is just like every other Star Wars British girl in every Star Wars. There's handsome rogue man.
Yeah. So
there's kind of almost Jedi man that's not.
Obviously, one of the negatives is the fact that
there's murder robot boy.
The characters are very interesting, however, also have very annoying names and very bland names, very archetypal.
That's kind of just the George Lucas formula, though.
I like when Alan Tudyk was a robot.
Yeah. So there's another thing. Great cast. Diego Luna, Alan Tudyk, Felicity Jones, Donnie Yen, Forrest Whitaker, Mads Mikkelsen, Ben Mendelsohn. Like,
who'd have thought we'd ever see Mads Mikkelsen in a Star Wars film?
Exactly, right? Awesome Darth Vader scene.
I like the part when they perform necromancy on Peter Cushing.
So this is my negatives. My first one is, what happened to all those Bothans who gave their lives? Tell me, God damn it.
I was going to say that. That's what I was going to say. I spent the whole movie being like, when do the Bothans die?
Exactly.
Are they the Bothans?
Exactly. Are they Bothans? Right, there you go. So that was my main thing.
Was the Bothans the friends we made along the way?
Were they in the spaceships? And also, oh God, the dead eyes behind the CGI faces. Make it stop, please.
No.
Don't care for that.
No.
Don't care for that.
Peter Cushing is not that bad. Leia is awful. Like, her eyes keep going like that. They don't track right.
How about... So I can get down with putting Rogue One in number 3.
Yeah.
The thing about Rogue One with me is it's a very inconsistent film. I think the first half of Rogue One is intolerably boring. I don't care about these characters. I'm not invested in them. All of their nonsense coming together, I'm like,
See, I felt like that made the film more charming for me.
Yeah.
Was the idea that it's just these faceless people who exist in the universe who we don't really give a shit about.
But like, you're supposed to give a shit about characters in a film, so that falls apart for me. But then we get to the second half of the film when they actually start doing stuff, and the entire battle on the planet, like, like seeing a military battle in a Star Wars universe from that boots on the ground
Saving Private
perspective,
Ryan,
instead of Luke Skywalker saving the day with his Jedi powers, was compelling. Obviously, everyone dies in the end, but we
knew that already.
I feel like that's a foregone conclusion. That last scene, though, the real bridge between this movie and A New Hope is Darth Vader just coming into the ship from the beginning of A New Hope and being just scary as hell.
Yeah.
Like, you understand why there's 30 rebel troops deep lined up in that hallway waiting for him in the beginning of A New Hope, because you're like, oh no, this is bad. This is real bad for you.
It's always funny how it's outside of the main Star, because I consider Rogue One to be, because it's a Star Wars story. It takes place outside of the main kind of set of films. In my opinion, that is where you always see Vader at his scariest.
Yeah, because that's when you see him paired up against people who don't have lightsabers and don't have the Force, and you're like, oh,
don't have plot armor.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's when he's not up against someone who is almost equal to him or can even stand up to him, like Luke. You're like, oh,
this man's just slicing and dicing.
He's just gonna run through everyone like butter.
Yeah.
It's so similar to the
Union stood no chance.
So Rogue One, I've got that as my number 1. Yeah, I think that's. I think of the original trilogy, I think that's the best story.
Okay.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Let me do this. Let me do that again.
Go for it.
All right, I'll play it.
Hot take.
Very hot take.
That take is so hot. I wish
through.
that take wasn't so hot.
It blew up Scarif.
I would say that takes so hard it's slicing through doors like a lightsaber.
That takes hot like the surface of Tatooine.
That's hot. That takes hot like the kiss between Luke and Leia.
That takes hot like Carrie Fisher in a metal bikini.
This is going to take up my whole time to justify.
Go on.
Go forth. Everything we've kind of already stated about
wrong.
It, that's why I like it. Just any kind of negatives it has, I look at it in hindsight. It does a great job of binding both the prequels and the original trilogy. I like seeing the whole dark side to it, no pun intended. As you say, like the whole Saving Private Ryan affair of just everyone dying on Scarif. It's just brutal. It's a breath of realism that I think Star Wars needed, and I think that's probably where Mandalorian took it from. Just go, this had something, so let's run with that. And as Dan would say, that's the best Star Wars medium we've had right now in the Mandalorian.
Yeah, it is, and Ian, you should watch it because it's pretty good. You're broken in bed.
That's his way of saying, yeah, I'll totally look at it. Couldn't do something else.
I've been trying to figure out what that horrifying bug-eyed creature on Massimo's shelf is for the past 15 minutes.
It's it's from Treasure Planet. It's Ben from Treasure Planet.
Okay, yep.
I thought it was like a discount Kermit.
Wait, in this scenario, you're implying I don't have enough money to buy an actual Kermit?
Yes.
It was knitted for him while he was sitting by the fire drinking his hot Italian wine as a 9-year-old watching Star Wars. It's made of cheese.
Treasure Planet, by the way, also a great film set in space.
Treasure Planet's fantastic.
Fantastic.
I haven't watched it in ages.
Titan AE, also good.
Titan, oh my god, unlocked memory there. That's fucking...
Yeah.
But yeah, with Rogue One, just everything we kind of said so far, although we said the first half is a bit boring, it's kind of made up for with the cast, to be honest. This kind of feels where they decide, okay, let's get actual good actors in. Stop it, Ian. Like Mads Mikkelsen and Felicity Jones and Forrest Whitaker and stuff. They all give great performances. That weird tentacle scene we don't talk of.
With Riz Ahmed, yeah.
Yeah, poor Riz Ahmed. That's how he got his start.
Also great actor as well. I forgot to mention him on the list.
You made a... No, I don't. God damn it. But Ian, you said the other thing, I think it was either you or Dan that said it, in the prequels,
it was
any kind of gunfire doesn't feel like it really hits you. There doesn't always seem to be much of an impact, and it seems more flowy. Yeah, but in this shot, you feel every single shot.
It seems like it's just lasers. It's like
pew 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 pew.
Yeah,
no one gets shot in the. Does anyone ever get Does anyone who matters ever get shot in the prequel trilogy? Does anyone who matters ever get shot in the original trilogy, for that matter?
Kit Fisto. He doesn't get shot, but he gets. Everybody cares about Kit Fisto.
Doesn't he get decapitated or something?
Really stupidly, he gets one of his tentacle dreadlocks cut off, and then he's dead.
Samuel Jackson gets pushed out a window, but you don't see me complaining about it.
I mean, again, we still don't know if he's dead.
He fell into a crash mat. He's fine. Yeah.
We still don't know if he's dead.
Guys, hot take. He's Snoke. More on that later.
No, please
no.
Fan
please
not.
Rogue One.
Hot take.
Rogue One is my number one. It breathed a new air to Star Wars that was sorely needing.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about Empire Strikes Back?
It's number one for me.
Wasn't it cool when Hoth? Wasn't it neat when Yoda? Remember the part when Darth Vader was like, "It's me, your daddy."
So I know you're saying these as all jokes, but these are all genuine points that I have written down.
Yeah.
Like,
remember when they escaped Cloud City? Remember when they walked into the room and Darth Vader was like, "What up? It's dinner time. Aren't you afraid?"
Exactly. Like, there's
what happened in that scene? Like, did they have dinner?
That is all of the entire movie. That scene has always confused me.
There's a robot chicken sketch about that, and it's fucking great.
That's like the only time in the entire trilogy. That's like the only time in the entire trilogy it ever references anyone eating dinner.
Exactly. So it's obviously the most complete film in the trilogy for me.
How does Darth Vader eat?
I thought like through like a tube situation.
Wait, do you ever remember those kind of like yogurt you would get, and you was like, we called them fruits.
Yeah, Gogurt.
Gogurt. Yeah, Gogurt.
Does he just like lift his mask up and just like?
Yeah. Well, mind you, did it in Spaceballs with a coffee.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really quick, can we have an aside and agree that, like, no matter what we rank the Star Wars films, Spaceballs is number one?
Yep.
I mean, it hasn't aged super well, but yeah, it's pretty good.
It's got some problems.
It's a problem. It goes back to the Highlander conversation that we had a few weeks ago, where it's still a problematic film, but kind of still is very fun to watch.
Yeah.
What are the issues? Like, kind of naive of it. What are the issues with the film that kind of date it?
It's just a certain terminology and slang. It's a Mel Brooks film.
Yeah, of course. So he's
it
always
was made in a time when making fun of the gays was still something that was socially acceptable.
There's some very derogatory slang, and
I can't even remember that.
Yeah, you don't. It's like that thing of it being.
Just, you probably just it goes in one ear and out the other.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, that kind of thing. You don't realize it.
No, I mean realistically, I have the hiccups. All bullshit aside, I always found Empire to be the most compelling film.
Yeah, I agree.
I get that it's really easy to be cliche and be like, "Oh, it's the darkest one, so it's the best one." And to be fair, that is part of the attraction. But like,
I don't think it's the darkest one. I thought
in hindsight, like it's not the darkest one, but I think at the time it probably was
out of the original trilogy.
Yeah,
I think. I'll keep talking about it, and we'll probably get to that one when I talk about.
You cannot tell me Return of the Jedi is darker than this one.
I think it is.
We've got straight up.
See what you mean.
Bunch of stuff. Okay, we've got.
So, I think that this one here is the most complete film because it is light and dark. Has some of the most iconic. I actually have a list of iconic lines in this. Like, pretty much everything that's been put on a T-shirt from Star Wars in the last 30 years before they released all the new stuff was probably from this film.
I like the part when Harrison Ford says literally anything.
So, I love you. I know. No, I'm your father.
Oh, of course.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah.
Nerf herder. Never tell me the odds.
So, I really like that somehow the line, "Luke, I am your father," has become a cultural touchstone when in fact he never says that.
It's "No, I am your father."
Yeah, he never says that. It's ridiculous.
What does he say, Ian?
Massimo just said it.
I'm your
dad. Words.
I'm your dad, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. What about the action of Empire Strikes Back? I guess like the. Just overall, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great. That's where we get the. Oh God, my brain. We get the second Death Star, right? Because
or is it in the middle?
No.
There's no Death Star in Empire Strikes or in Return. No, Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, it is. You're right. It's the battle for Hoth.
The climax of the film is it begins with the battle for Hoth, and the climax of the film is all in Cloud City.
Yeah, which I think is pretty good. Like again, more boots on the ground stuff.
I also think you do get a little bit of the boots on the ground stuff with Hoth, but you still get a lot of like Luke Skywalker is going to save the day. What if we tie up their legs, guys? How did no one? That doesn't take magical space powers to figure that out.
It's common fucking sense.
You guys, you should all be military trained. Like, come on. The fight between Luke and Darth Vader.
Great.
Wherein the line is said, it would be easy to discount it as kind of a boring fight because it's very one-sided, but that's kind of the point.
Yeah. You think she's strong enough to go up against him, and it turns out he's
you're really illustrating that, like, Luke is out of his league in a real big bad way. And Yoda tried to tell him, and he was like, no, I gotta go save my friends, who would have been just fine. He didn't really do anything to help his friends.
I have a few points on this. First of all, there's a out of canon comic book story that does that, where Luke doesn't go and actually go to Cloud City. That's really good. It's a trilogy of comic books.
Yeah, those are really
and
good.
It's a retelling of the original trilogy if stuff went differently.
It's basically What If Star Wars.
Yeah, it's What If Star Wars, and it's really, really fucking good. And it concludes with Yoda driving the Death Star into Emperor Palpatine.
He's not lying.
I'm not lying. It's such a...
When you say drive, do you mean like he puts
on a trucker hat and he gets in the driver's seat and he just runs that motherfucker down.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Surprise you are!
Motherfucker, surprise!
Driving this motherfucker I am now, yes!
I'm too tired for this.
You're telling me.
Going back to the whole Cloud City thing, has the least CGI tampering or some of the best CGI tampering as well?
The least noticeable.
See everything that's not in the kind of darkness with the Luke and Darth Vader fight. I found that entire scene just totally bland. I'm always so bored during it. And I get that. I get that with the entire film. Like, a lot of the time, people say it's like the most adult Star Wars film because it like maybe takes itself a lot more seriously. But I think when you do that, not in a Rogue One way where it's action packed and like
maybe
bombastic,
a bit of its sting.
It kind of it becomes bland to me, and it becomes just dialogue.
I guess Cloud City, introduction of Lando Calrissian. Great character, phenomenal. Mm-hmm. That's kind of one of the better things of that film. Negatives of that film: Tauntaun innards probably smell terrible. They definitely smell terrible.
Is that really a negative, though?
I would say it's really good practical effects. Like,
it's just disgusting.
I know. I was gonna say it's incest. Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Incest. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, no, cutting that out. I mean, you do have to kind of consider it from the scope of, like, they didn't know.
But he did though, because
no, I mean the characters didn't.
Oh, right, okay, all right, okay. The behind the scenes story though is obviously that nobody knew until the day of the film premiere, apart from Mark Hamill and George Lucas.
I've never considered it from that perspective, actually, with the whole Leia and Luke thing. The whole like nobody knowing,
everyone apart from Kenobi.
If they hadn't just,
if Kenobi had let you in,
Obi-Wan's looking on from the Force, being like, it's too late now.
I'm gonna do my best impression of Mason's voice from The Weekly Planet doing this Kenobi. Oh no, it's twins. Oh no,
it's twincest.
I should have told
that's just the Beatles.
I was gonna say
you did this the last time. You tried to do a Scottish accent or something, and it came out.
Bad trip, Luke Skywalker. Bad trip.
No, it's a bad idea.
Just every week, I'm gonna come back being the Beatles doing Star Wars.
Jesus.
We all live in a yellow Death Star.
Oh no! Don't kiss your sister, Lou.
Ringo Starr wrote this song, so it's boring.
Oh, that explains the squid tentacles.
Jesus.
This is going completely off the rails.
Also, how does Vader not recognize DPO?
Yeah, that's always been a problem. Yeah. That's been a problem with me more with the prequels than the original trilogy.
Just for kind of highlighting it, you mean?
Again, fantastic robot chicken sketch as well. That does that.
On the other hand, like, literally all protocol droids look the same, and no one ever calls him C-3PO in Darth Vader's presence. So,
True.
Why wouldn't he just assume he's just another protocol droid, you know? Though
not all protocols sound the same though.
When he sees him rolling around with a specific blue astromech droid, there should have been a little bit in his head that went like, I wonder. Maybe.
Is that your James L. Jones impression?
No.
Is it your David Ward Prowse impression?
It's better than your Paul McCartney Kenobi.
Simba. All of that shit right there is yours, but not the rest of it. Don't fucking go there. There's hyenas. No.
Oh man.
This is Bad Impressions Hour with your host.
Soothing careers, it's ASMR.
Moving on from Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, Dan's favorite.
Takes the second place in my film. Not as good as Empire, but caps off the trilogy in a very satisfying way.
Yep. Ewoks.
That's my negative thing. Darker tone that allows. No, they're not. They're evil. They're Satan.
I meant to do this.
Yes. Darker tone that allows all the characters to have a great character arc and bring each individual story to a conclusion. Jabba's boat scene is iconic, including the death of Boba Fett, but not the actual death of Boba Fett.
Yeah. That's true. Okay, I really like the first 45 minutes of Return of the Jedi.
Very good.
And I really like the last 20 minutes of Return of the Jedi.
Features the high ground in play, which is nice. We call back.
Oh, we didn't even mention that in the prequels.
And with that, best lightsaber duels of the original trilogy.
Most emotional, I would say.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Best use of it, kind of thing. Like they kind of actually had the right budget, so they could use it more often.
The final duel between Luke and Vader in the throne room is definitely
when he just yeets a lightsaber at him.
Yeah,
really well done.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's an emotional climax.
The color scheme of it as well, just with the green and red and the total darkness, is awesome.
Yeah, very good. Slightly heavy-handed symbolism, but with all those films, that kind of goes without saying.
George Lucas, heavy-handed symbolism? No.
And here's one that's a bit divisive, and I put next to it 50-50. Hayden Christensen Force Ghost. So I'm a bit 50-50 because I think, okay, it makes sense because the audience, like a newer audience, will recognize Hayden Christensen as being prequel Darth Vader, but at the same time wouldn't make sense because everyone else comes back at roughly the same age as they were.
Yeah.
So
Luke doesn't know who the hell that is. It's just a random.
There's an argument. There's an argument for the Hayden Christensen ghost. It goes a little something like this. The argument is that Anakin Skywalker died when he looked like that.
Yeah.
And then it's Anakin Skywalker's nose, not Darth Vader's. Now, the counterpoint to that is you could argue that Anakin Skywalker came back in those last moments of his life as he was dying in Luke's arms.
Kind of released his soul kind of idea.
Yeah. On that point, though, shouldn't he look like a burnt-up husk?
That's what I was going to say. That's before he died. Yeah,
because he never looked like the guy that you see in that Force Ghost.
I want to see that cut so bad where the whole end party gets stopped because everyone sees this ghost.
And they're just Luke is just like, "What the fuck is that? Obi-Wan, what the fuck is that?"
I don't think he's probably not got any fucking vocal cords, so it's just.
It's a straight up.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
He looks totally normal, but he's a mute now.
He says he loves you very much.
Who? What the fuck is
that? Here's the negatives. Max Rebo, oh god, my eyes. Where's the bleach? Where's the bleach?
Okay, so I like to pretend that whole musical sequence doesn't exist. That was. It's like
it's better than the first song.
For those couple minutes, it's like George Lucas took all of the prequels and just injected it whole cloth into Return of the Jedi's veins.
Yeah, it's like you could tell what he was trying. Like, this is when you could tell when George Lucas was like, I wonder how people will feel. I don't know what George Lucas sounds like.
I think people would really. I think people would really like it if we had a musical scene right here. I think that would really serve the plot and the pacing.
I think it's also a good tester for the holiday special I have planned.
I think that was long past. I think the musical. If we can't get the musical scene working, the whole film doesn't work. It's the funniest scene we've ever had.
I don't care. I don't care that it worked before that, but now it has to work with us.
Do you guys have an opinion? So, if we have to have the musical scene in the film, what one do you prefer, the original or the remake one?
The original.
Absolutely, the original.
Because it's an actual good piece of animatronics.
Yeah,
like the CGI version.
I mean the actual song, like, because there's two versions.
I still stand by that.
Yeah.
No. Literally, the CGI, the re-release version is literally like out of nowhere. Suddenly, you have a CGI Disney song. What?
It's so
in this gross ass barge.
Yeah.
Huh?
That's so good. So see, for Star Wars, just as a quick tangent, for Star Wars Day, I had a day in Star Wars. I was dressed up and all sorts of it. I was having so much fun. But the last thing I did was I recorded myself playing bass to the song in Jabba's Palace, and I had so much fun doing it. That is a bass line. I'll link you to that later on. It's so much fun.
I don't like when people have fun.
Mate, come on, it's great jazz music.
Jazz music, yeah. Jazz band.
Crazy jazz.
I love Max Rebo. He's incredible.
No, we have to we just take out the CGI.
Size noodles. Come on.
Please
I'm talking about that salacious crumb.
Yeah.
I want that salacious crumb, baby.
Also, I said the first 45 minutes of Return of the Jedi, fucking amazing. And then the last maybe 50 minutes also pretty good. It's just,
I'm trying to remember.
Half an hour in the middle. Actually, what is the runtime of that film? Because I could be getting.
I have no idea. As a tangent for the site, I reviewed kind of in between comic between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi that kind of shows what happens in between, and it was really interesting. But also kind of weird because a bunch of them go back to Bespin City because one of them's forgotten their wallet or some shit. It's along that kind of vein. Someone's forgotten some minimal little thing, so they make a whole thing of going back there. And then Luke goes to get another lightsaber because his is lost now. And he goes to the fishing village that you see, or the kind of fishing dock that you see in the Mandalorian.
Oh,
it's kind of interesting. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I like that.
You can link that later on.
That's good,
yeah.
But yeah, no. So for me personally, that's kind of the films we could have talked about. So if I'm going to give my definitive rankings, it is Empire Strikes Back at first place, top spot. Return of the Jedi, second place. Rogue One at third, and Episode 4, A New Hope, in bottom spot.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't necessarily, by any means, make it a bad film. Unlike the prequel trilogy, these are all great films.
Is it pretty set in stone? These are the four in order, or are they kind of interchangeable?
Mate, they stay always for me. I'd only say probably Empire is always the top, but those other three they interchange.
Kind of depends who you are.
Yeah, it really honestly does, because it depends on what sort of mood you're in. Empire across the board, I feel like when you sit and watch it, you can watch it. You can probably watch Empire 10 times over, and I still would probably still say it's my favorite. But that thing of you will notice new stuff every time you watch other films, maybe it change. But,
I'll say from Rogue One onwards, and I mean this in the entire chronology. From Revenge of the Sith onwards, in the entire chronology, that's. After I finish Revenge of the Sith, I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, I'm in a Star Wars mood now. I'm going to go through the rest of these films. If I start on Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones, or even look at Solo, I'm kind of okay, I'm burnt out now.
That covers it.
Yeah,
I get
it. With that as well, I think A New Hope for me is that's the one of the original trilogy that makes me go, cool, right? I'm in a Star Wars mood now. This is setting me up for a day.
I feel like if you were like, I know people watch it in the machete order and all that stuff, and like all the different various orders watching it, but honestly, you just have to watch it from.
Oh God, we haven't even talked about that.
Yeah, like machete orders.
Not.
We'll talk about machete order when we probably talk about the last set of trilogy of films.
Yeah,
because that'll be a separate thing.
Yeah, Ian, do you want to give you a ranking at all?
Yeah.
Empire
at 1, obviously.
Empire at 1.
Yeah.
New Hope at 2. Rogue One at 3, and Return at 4. It's where I'm coming out of this at. It's you convinced me to move Rogue One up a single spot in my ranking.
Hey, I honestly think underrated film. I feel like people give it too much shit, and I feel
It's a great.
For whatever reason, I've never like really enjoyed watching Return of the Jedi.
Again, it's one of those things where like people out there will be screaming at this, being like, "Oh, it's the best! Return of the Jedi is the best! It's the darkest! It's good." Probably Dan being one of them.
What do I have to say about that?
I think this might be hypocritical of me because how much I said like Solo was unnecessary, and that was like bottom of the barrel for me in Star Wars. But I'd say Rogue One is my number 1 because, as I say, it's a breath of fresh air to the series. Also, like I just as a standalone film, I think it's the best Star Wars. I think it's the best film.
Are you giving us the Forrest Whitaker eye, Ian?
No, I'm looking.
I think he's just tired.
I'm looking closer at Ben's camera to see where his brains are falling out of his head. See it. Okay.
He's stuffing it in with the headphones.
Yeah. It's not going to come out after this. It's been a wild ride. So number 1, Rogue One. I think it's just standalone. It's a great film, and I think for me, it's probably Empire for number 2.
I guess I can respect that.
Yeah, it's like what we've talked about. It's just a really good film.
Everyone's going to have their own feelings. I just like to make fun of everything. Exactly. That's what I do.
Everyone's opinion's meaninless, and at the end of the day, we're currently talking about a fictional universe.
Listen,
still
in the end, we're a bunch of hairless monkeys talking about fake people on a computer screen, and we're all on a rock floating through space around a nuclear explosion. We're all going to die someday as well.
What does that make Mass then? He's not hairless. He is a
proto-human.
He's a hairy monkey.
Yeah.
Maybe the real Star Wars was the friends we made along the way.
And end. So Rogue One, Empire Strikes Back. Then I think Return of the Jedi, A New Hope. But it kind of Rogue One is the only one I'm certain of. Empire, A New Hope, and Return of the Jedi. They all kind of just depend. If I'm in the mood for Return of the Jedi, I'm going to watch Return of the Jedi over A New Hope and Empire, and vice versa.
I mean, for an arbitrary point system, though, like this is the order we're going to be given it.
Yeah, I know. I've given it. Yeah, so right now I'd say best to worst. This is official now. Rogue One, Empire, Return, and A New Hope.
Yeah, fair enough. There you go. It's pretty solid.
So that's a ranking. How are you doing, Ian?
I think that's his.
What? Are you updating it?
I was gonna, but I don't.
Don't try and work my system.
Backwards ass system.
My system.
We'll figure it out later on. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for listening to our Star Wars talk.
Yeah.
You can probably find a bunch of Star Wars related materials reviewed on the website.
Yeah. So Dan made it apparent. We've got reviews for Rogue One, and I think Last Jedi. He may have reviewed the entirety of the sequel trilogy.
There's probably some comic reviews that are up there as well.
There's a bunch of them spread out. Yeah. They're really interesting.
Yeah. So speaking of Star Wars stuff, I think it's time for us to get into the news.
Yeah.
Yeah, end of the news. So this news week, I guess we should probably kick off with this one.
Yep.
kind of to link in with our kind of general Star Wars discussion that we've kind of been talking throughout the episode. You probably know a lot more about this than me, Ben, I'll be honest. There's a Star Wars Visions spin-off novel called Ronin that's been announced.
Yeah, so I think, and don't hold me to this, but I think this is one of the bigger kind of samurai stories that originally Star Wars was based off of. Oh. So it's a nice kind of full circle that we're getting the Ronin. It's called Ronin. It's just a battle of two samurai, that kind of light and dark side. So it's a nice kind of full circle that we're getting that Japanese story in a Star Wars context now, but like still within the Japanese kind of frame.
I love
and
that.
Body of it.
Yeah. It's a very cool kind of circle back to the initial kind of origins of what inspired George Lucas when it comes to a lot of the Star Wars mythos.
Seven Samurai and stuff like that.
With that as well,
the
Star
snake
Wars
truly devours its own tail.
Yeah. So with that as well, so we've got Star Wars Visions. The trailer for that just came out. Kind of a trailer. It was more so a discussion between a bunch of studios that are all a part of it. One thing I was going to make apparent last week is one thing we don't really have with Star Wars is a kind of Love, Death and Robots animated series. I would love to see something like
thing.
And yeah, just random short stories in Star Wars with different designs and all sorts. It's something I'd love to see, and we're getting that now.
Just kind of a vignette sort of thing.
Yeah. So we're getting a bunch of different animators involved with this and animation studios, ranging from the very dark and serious to the more kind of anime and manga style. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that.
I think it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
And speaking of animated shows that Disney are involved in with,
go on.
We currently have the first proper big meaty trailer for Marvel's What If series that is due out next month, August 13th, I believe is the release date.
I think you're
correct. Boy, I'm excited. I think it's going to be great.
I think there's a lot of really interesting stuff in there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be phenomenal. I think they've had it on the head again, and they're going to be doing another amazing shit over at Marvel because they always do that stuff.
Yeah. This is just continuing further into the sort of multiverse.
Yeah. That's going to be set out with kind of Loki and stuff and
direction that we've been heading in, and we've got. I mean, we already know a couple of the what if scenarios. We've got stuff like what if Peggy Carter was Captain Britain instead of Steve Rogers Captain America? What if like one of them was what if Spider-Man was the Sorcerer Supreme? What if Doctor Strange served Dormammu? What if
the Tony Stark one, right?
What if Killmonger had showed up out of nowhere and saved Tony Stark from his own bomb?
I think that one is the same as what if Killmonger becomes Black Panther. I think they take place in the same thing.
That would make sense. And of course, there is what if T'Challa had become Star-Lord, which is a big deal for a lot of people because that is going to be the final performance of Chadwick Boseman posthumously. So I think a lot of people are going to watch that just for that alone.
I think that's going to be great. I feel like as well, last performance. Also, as well, another thing, I don't know if we had on it. There's apparently one as well that looks like what if Thor never lost his hammer. I think it's another one.
I think I read that one of them is what if Thor had stayed unworthy. So I think it's actually the opposite. There was a whole comic arc of unworthy Thor. So maybe they're kind of
leaning into that,
and I think I read this on the internet, but someone had a good point that maybe this is just like a testing ground for Marvel to figure out what people like when it comes to those alternate versions.
So
if they're going to do that, then
I heard as well that it's apparently going to be that all of the what if characters converge and become part of the Guardians of the Multiverse.
Interesting.
Is allegedly one of the things is that all the bunch of the main heroes that appear.
It's kind of like what DC was originally planning to do with the Tales from the Dark Multiverse before Dan Didio got canned.
Yeah,
and it became a non-starter.
Yeah. Some good books there.
I think the stories there are going to be awesome. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the art style. It has that kind of shell-shaded anime style. Kind of reminds me of Borderlands, but yeah, I'm there for the stories.
What if Marvel Zombies as well?
Yeah,
right.
Probably the biggest one, right? Like
that'll be the penultimate.
Yeah,
I think that one. If I'm not mistaken, I apologize, my nose is bleeding. I think that one, if I'm not mistaken, has to do with the Thanos snap.
Oh, nice.
Because I think it was like, what if Thanos snapped the other half of the population and then zombies happened?
Well, if Thanos snapped his other hand.
Yeah, which is why you've got dead Captain America.
Hey. Meant to that.
Guess you got to be specific when you say you want half of the universe gone.
Yeah, you do.
But that was great. I'm trying to think of a segue into this.
Segue.
Massimo,
what's our next news story?
Surprisingly, this one's probably going to be a bit of a somber bit of news. This is the death of famed director Richard Donner, who died earlier this week at age 91.
Yep. It's a ripe old age.
Yeah, ripe old age. Had a good innings, but at the same time, always sad to see one of the iconic kind of directors of even the superhero genre, you would probably say, and many other types of genres is sadly passed away. But I have a soft spot for the original kind of Superman stuff. Of course, I think I've said it on here before. I've at least said it in some of the interviews and stuff that I love those Christopher Reeve movies, and I think they have a special place in my heart as being kind of the first superhero media I probably consumed when I was younger.
Are you ready for a really hot take?
Oh God, you can not say you don't like them.
Every time I've tried to watch Superman, I get about 15-20 minutes in, and I'm just bored as hell.
I mean, it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
I will definitely say that. I'll definitely say that it's as a like it's. Show some respect, dude. No, 100% reasonable. I think 2 is better than 1, especially the Donner cut. But I 100% agree that like it isn't a film for everybody. It can be quite a slow start, and in comparison to what you're used to nowadays, it's probably not going to hold up for a lot of people. And
I mean, that's probably a large part of it. Because I tried to watch it the other night in memoriam, and just that whole Krypton opening, I was kind of like, okay.
I mean, if that isn't your cup of tea, well, maybe another film that he done that I also really like, Lethal Weapon, might be up your street.
I do like Lethal Weapon. It's too bad Mel Gibson's a fucker.
Yep. Just don't. You can separate the art and the artist, man.
Yeah.
In reality,
a whole episode about it.
In reality, I'd never been. His name's been understated in Hollywood, but he's done so many iconic films. Like a lot of them, I've never heard of his name before, but I've looked for his catalogue to find out who he was, and there's so many of my favourite films on here. Talk about
you probably
Scrooge. He was a part of. Yeah. Like Scrooge is like a Christmas classic for me and my family. We watch that every year, and it's just it's phenomenal.
Come on, look, I've just got a thing. The Omen.
The Omen, as well. Yeah.
He has a very expansive and a very, that's the word I'm looking for, a varied
the Goonies
repertoire. Like,
come on.
Yeah, like he did not make just the same kind of movie over and over.
Mm-hmm.
His filmography spans multiple genres, multiple styles, multiple feels.
It's a sign of an undeniable director.
No,
he's undeniable in his craft. So it'll be sorely missed.
Yeah, it will be. Done so many episodes of The Twilight Zone as well.
Yeah.
Like, man, Tales from the Crypt. Look, the guy said it was a very understated, I wouldn't say undervalued, just appreciated name in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I feel like hopefully, I know it's obviously posthumously, but hopefully that his name's been brought to kind of the headlines with his death and stuff. People actually go and watch his work.
Of course, just to even revisit it, just to enjoy it all again.
Exactly.
Yeah,
rewatch it with a different angle and a fresh news.
And if you don't like Superman, it's okay. It's fine.
Plenty
There's
of
loads you can choose from. Yeah,
so many.
I admit I'm probably wrong, and you're probably wrong too, but it's okay.
We can all be wrong together.
Fun.
I love Lethal Weapon.
I like when they made Lethal Weapon 5. Oh wait, that was Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Have you seen the TV show?
No.
The first season, absolutely fine. The second season,
not so fine.
Not so fine.
Not so great. You might say it's the opposite of fine. He was also the executive producer on X-Men. And unfortunately, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Surprised he never did a Marvel film. It's quite incredible, that.
Executive producing. Yeah, that's close enough. That was getting close. When Marvel started really ramping it up, that was getting close to the end of his career.
Yeah, very true.
What else? One
bit of news I'm really interested in hearing about is there's going to be, and kind of with the Long Halloween animated film coming out right now, both parts, on, I believe it's the anniversary of the Long Halloween Batman, we're getting a Long Halloween special, which will be a 48-page follow-up and continuation. Yeah.
Which is interesting because I don't... so I love the Long Halloween. Yeah. I went and reread it recently, and I concede to a lot of the unspoken points that we talked about in chat that you had about the animation. I don't know how you continue that storyline, but I'm open to it.
Yeah, it's intriguing to see where they go with it.
The one thing I have to say is, and I said the same thing when the announcement came out, I do really like Tim Sale's artwork. I hope it holds up to the quality of Long Halloween, because looking at that cover image, there's some Rob Liefeldian problems with that anatomy.
There's some George Lucas hand shot first editing. That neck is snapped.
That's not how it's not how heads work. Yeah. I'm sure it'll be fine. That's kind of the one thing I worry about is, one, like, does Tim Sale still got it? And two, it's arguable that Jeff Loeb has not written anything good in the past 15 years.
I'm familiar with his work, so I caught it. He did Long Halloween, so I'm happy with him. So let's hope this is a return to form.
I guess we'll see when it comes out. I will certainly read it. So without a doubt, I'll pick that up. I might even grab a physical copy to put next to my copy of Long Halloween.
That's a good idea.
I barely buy physical anymore.
Yeah, no one does. Speaking of barely buying physical anymore, and this isn't really the comic books. This is me trying to segue into another major announcement that happened this week. And for those who are fans of video games and all sorts, it's not the Switch 2, because that was a terrible thing and pissed off a bunch of people. It is the State of Play announcement for PlayStation. So Ian and Ben, you guys can zone out if you're not really into this. I'll just spend the next 5 or so minutes basically saying that this was a massive disappointment. If Dan was here, I think he'd probably agree with me. The overall, like, we saw new stuff from Arcane's Deathloop. Okay, we saw Death Stranding's director cut, so more Kojima madness. Another, we got a good look at the Yakuza spin-off, Lost Judgment, also from Sega. We got a Demon Slayer weird anime game, Forge, Shadow Touch, like a bunch of new IPs even. Jet, which is the Far Shore, a space adventure from Super Brothers, a game development studio. And this one's probably the most one I'm in, which is one called Sifu Fight Club, and it's like a combat game, but it kind of looks... I
like combat.
It's like quite stylized, quite kind of like martial arts inspired kind of thing going on. It looks pretty solid overall. It looks quite good. Tribes of Midgard, Season 1, The Wolf. Don't know what this is in a kind of Battle Royale Hunters arena. Look, I'll be honest, overall, from what we were expecting, like we were saying in the E3 stuff, where we're going to be, we'll see Ragnarok, God of War Ragnarok, we'll see more Final Fantasy stuff, we'll see another new IP. Pretty overall disappointing. It's been a fairly disappointing year for games announcements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's pretty understandable. I don't think we ever should have gotten our hopes too far up. Everything's been work from home for the past year and a half. It's hard to pump out big AAA titles when you can't really work in a studio and be forced to crunch on games and work crazy long hours that no one actually wants to work. Funny how that
I'm
works.
glad for developers and stuff to actually be able to have reasonable working hours and be able to actually have social lives rather than crunching like a motherfucker.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, no. Pretty disappointing, but what can you do? Yeah, overall, just an air conference. I'm interested in Deathloop. I think it's kind of cool. If I can ever get my hands on PlayStation 5, then maybe I'll play it.
They don't
Good
exist.
luck with that one, man. They're like mythical creatures. When you see one in the wild, you just want to.
Did you see any? I know obviously you work a backstock job. Have you seen anything yet in the back rooms of?
Nope.
No, really, nothing. Damn.
They don't exist as far as I'm concerned.
At least not in this universe.
Nope. Exactly.
What if PlayStation 5 was in stock?
Marvel's next big new project.
The Watcher is just sitting there being like, I would like one.
No.
I don't interfere until now.
Oh, speaking of Marvel.
Speaking of Marvel.
Yeah. What did you guys think of Loki episode 5?
Phenomenal.
I liked it a lot.
The best yet.
I liked it a lot. Can we just all agree that Alligator Loki is the best character?
Yeah. I'm still with Richard E. Grant. I still think he's the best.
I think they're joint top for me.
It was okay, but
exactly. But the crocodile just takes it.
Alligator.
Sorry,
Alligator Loki really put his work in.
Exactly.
Oh, he chewed off Loki's hand.
President Loki's hand.
Yeah.
Right. So if we're gonna start, we'll probably start from the start of this. So start of the episode, we get Loki with the Lokis, and we get a bit of exposition as to what
Loki and the Lokis is my new band.
Yeah, new cover band.
Exposition about the boy and all that stuff.
Just as a quick tangent back to the very start, the opening of this was very Doctor Strange. I thought the way it all spiraled into place was all manipulated.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it gave me Doctor Strange vibes.
Yeah, we start off with Loki and the Lokis. We learn that they're in. So at the close of the last episode, there was theories that maybe we were in New York that had been conquered by Loki because there was what looked like a Stark Tower. It's not Stark Tower. We'll get to that. Yeah, I mean it is Stark Tower, but it's not Stark Tower.
It's a version of Stark Tower, but
it's Quenling Tower.
Yeah. Nathaniel Quinlan,
which is a company that is run by Nathaniel Richards, aka Immortus, aka Ramatut, aka Kang the Conqueror.
Ooh.
There was a lot of shit pointing towards Kang in this episode, none the least of which was Alioth, the giant matter-eating cloud that exists in the void.
The diamond in the rough.
This is the end of time.
It's the big line from Aladdin.
Yes, and it does look like that. Yeah, and this is where. This is where anything that they prune or use those time grenades on goes. And usually you get eaten by Alioth, but Lokis survive and are smart, and so they have been surviving in the void for God knows how long.
So here's the thing that Marvel did in this episode. They basically, by having all these wee cameos, and he said, canonically confirmed that there is several universes out there where there's a Thanos copter. And also a tiny frog Thor.
And Polybius.
And Polybius, Polybius fucking arcade machine.
So what was the Thanos copter? Because I seen that, I was like, what does that mean?
So there's a really silly comic from like the 60s or 70s where Thanos has a helicopter.
Called the Thanos copter.
Pretty much what it comes down to.
It makes several appearances in Deadpool. Deadpool,
nice.
It's probably the most famous modernly from appearing in a bunch of Deadpool comics fairly recently.
Yeah.
But its original appearance, as Ian was saying, was the mid-70s.
Nice touch,
helicopter.
Yeah, so we got the Thanos copter. We got Frog Thor, which I was stoked about.
Yeah, it was great. Not Throg, but Thor apparently, because apparently it's different. There's two separate things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
but still pretty good.
The battleship that landed was also a reference to conspiracy theory about a US ship that during World War II apparently had the ability to cloak
Yes.
Oh, nice.
The USS Eldridge.
I wonder what that was all about. I thought it was just like a random Nexus event that happened.
Real ship, fake hoax story about how it can cloak and do all that stuff. Look up the Pennsylvania experiment.
I think in this idea though was that it could actually maybe cloak, and hence why it was removed from the timeline.
Yes, that's my bet. Much like Polybius is okay. Here's a timeline where Polybius actually existed and had to be erased, and that's why there's no Polybius. And that's kind of an interesting thing to think, is everything in that void is stuff that shouldn't exist or doesn't exist in the MCU timeline.
So, speaking of things that shouldn't exist or doesn't exist in the MCU timeline, all of the Lokis that we got, phenomenal. Richard E. Grant's classic Loki.
Not all of them. The ones that we got time with, absolutely. But the army, that just looked like Loki Borderlands, and they were all just the same.
Yeah,
I don't think
other than President Loki. I think they were like.
I think they were supposed to be. They all, every single one of them.
Oh, I
in various ways had horns.
I thought they were just like because they mentioned obviously random Ravager cannibals and stuff. I thought they were just a general.
Maybe. I mean, it's possible.
Pirates and stuff.
That's actually maybe right. Yeah. I took it to mean like this whole we have a Hulk, and it's like, well, I've got a Loki army.
I've got an army.
I just think it was a general kind of Loki being President Loki kind of thing, rather than.
I did not expect President Loki to be a separate character.
No, but it was funny though, because Loki, after being 5 minutes with various versions of himself, couldn't stand it, and arguably, I love the idea of him tiptoeing around the fight scene. Fantastic.
Yeah,
it almost went into like Kingsman and the Kingsman and the Church kind of vibes. Not as good, but it had that same kind of vibe.
I enjoyed classic Loki creating an illusion of them so they can all slip away.
Yeah.
Also, in that illusion, Alligator Loki and Kid Loki do get help.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is great.
That was pretty good.
I got to say, I'm not into the Loki and Sylvie stuff at all. I groan so heavily.
I don't think it's a romantic relationship. People are taking it the wrong way.
I agree. Though they're putting it in a subversion kind of way. I don't think the end goal is to have them together, but they're doing a kind of subversion to that, and I'd rather they just didn't.
I see it as more as like two people who are like a friendship arising kind of thing, because neither of them are lonely.
You kind of made it that way, yeah.
Two people trying to fuck each other.
I mean, these are two people who have never actually had any sort of real friendship in their life, who are having one for the first time ever.
Yeah,
and we get a little bit of that with Loki hugging Mobius as well, before Mobius goes back to the Time Bureau to burn it to the ground, which hopefully he actually does. Which I thought was a nice little moment. Speaking of the Time Bureau, we go back there, and I was a little confused because I'm pretty sure we pick up with Sylvie and Renslayer in exactly the same position they were in at the end of last week.
Yes.
But they're now in the judge chamber instead of in the timekeeper's chamber, and I don't know how they got there.
I think that's just a continuity thing. I feel like it's maybe they just threw them into a similar position kind of thing.
Oh, I forgot that as a quick tangent, just based on that kind of continuity thing. The whole where did Loki's jacket go? It's a small detail, but it really bugged me. They fell off the train in the last episode.
The jacket somewhere on
the asteroid planet.
They jump off the train and he has it on. But he gets up and it's just not on him, and now he just doesn't have a jacket. It bugs me.
That bothers me less than how are they suddenly in a totally different room.
Very true. Miss Minutes appearing again.
Yeah, that's strong. I like it.
Yeah.
Miss Minutes appearing and being shady as hell.
Yeah. So that's my. I've got a hot take, but it's probably not a hot take. It's probably lukewarm.
Miss Minutes is behind it all.
She's the one. She's the thing.
She's Kang the Conqueror.
I like how distinctly different all the Lokis are as well.
Yeah,
and how Richard E. Grant's Loki is basically the same Loki as normal Loki.
He's the same Loki, except he's in a timeline where the fan theory that Loki created an illusion that got killed by Thanos actually happened.
And also, arguably, is possibly the first Loki.
Yeah.
Classic, yeah.
Because I think the fact that the suit and everything makes me think immediately like it could possibly be that he was the first variant to be pruned.
I like to think that he's from a timeline where everything goes the way it normally goes, but like all the characters are wearing silly comic accurate costumes.
So that was my biggest takeaway from this. It's just I really want to see the classic timeline. I want to see what these characters look like and who's playing them.
I think Thanos look more or less the same.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just going to be
Thor would be clean shaven with his like
winged helmet.
Yeah. Captain America just looks like Captain America from the first movie when he's wearing the stupid stage performance outfit.
Vision just a big fucking red fucking weirdly android faced man. The Hulk is just Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah, like I'd love
Hulk just has purple pants.
Oh, can we get John Cena to be him, please?
Yeah, just does it. No, I honestly think I think this episode kind of smashed at the park. And spoilers. The moment where you see that Loki's without blades are more powerful, where he basically conjures a whole illusion of Asgard, was fucking incredible.
That was great.
I did not expect that to happen.
I got a bit choked up at that actually, and I'm not even that
I loved his whole thing of like blades weaken a Loki because you never practice your magic, which is what mainline Loki has been doing this whole time.
Yeah. And we see the moment he abandons the blades, when he's helping Sylvie, he's able to literally channel the enchantment magic.
Yeah. He does still have the blade. If you look, you can see the handle sticking up from behind, but
I think it's not in his hand, so it means he's not using it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's using his magic instead. Which, basically they use the channeling, like the enchantress stuff to enchant Eliath, and that opens up a gateway or a portal or something to what looks like a creepy mansion castle place.
Which at the end of time.
At the end of time, which again we have a lot pointing towards, if not Kang, a version of Kang, because Kang the Conqueror, all Kang the Conqueror is Nathaniel Richards, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the son of Franklin and Sue, Franklin Richards and Sue Storm, in the future.
You mean Reed?
Reed Richards, yeah, not Franklin Richards.
Is it not? Is it not? What's his name? I'll have a look.
I know he might not be their son. He's related to them.
Yeah, so it's Kang Nathaniel Richards.
I'm gonna look back at my notes because I remember I scoured the first or second episode for what looks like a very small detail when the receptionist was typing up something. So what was I've got it here. Yeah, it was Mary Wilson, female, 25, touched the Tesseract and opened a wormhole to God. Omega. So maybe it may have something to do with that, or that could have just been a very small detail that ultimately was just look at that, that's cool for anyone who actually knew what it was. But maybe it might lead to that.
So I don't know if he's. Oh yeah, so he's said to be descended of the benefactor through Reed Richards. So
so he's related to them.
Kang is this weird thing though, is that there are several alternate versions of them all kicking around at the same time.
Yeah.
Like he's been alive for so long and
exists. So you got Kang. He's also been Rama Tut when he went back to ancient Egypt. He's been Immortus.
Not from the mainline MCU. Or not from the mainline 616 universe. He's from Earth 6311.
Right. Yeah. So there you also get kind of the multiverse stuff. He's also just been Nathaniel Richards in I think running that Quailang or whatever it was company that we see on the alternate Stark Tower. And Nathaniel Richards also lives in the castle. So I think there's a lot more pointing towards the Kang theory, including the fact that we know Kang is coming in a future movie, than the crazy Mephisto theories that we all had running towards the end of WandaVision, which had really nothing backing it. And then, of course, episode 6 is going to come out next week, and we're going to find out it was Agatha all along. So
she did make a small appearance in the first episode.
Song is still,
I've seen that. Yeah.
Song is still a banger.
I think that this will break the MCU multiverse wide open.
Yeah, this is when you get rid of the timekeepers in the TVA. Suddenly the timeline is. I mean, I think what we're going to find out is there's always been a multiverse.
Yeah.
It's just there's this one timeline that the TVA has been preserving, but there are other timelines that they just aren't touching.
Oh man, I can see. Before we forget, Morbius coming up in the car was fucking amazing.
Yes,
love that so much. The amount of Lightning McQueen memes I've seen because of that.
That
was really good.
That has like Pizza Planet vibes to me from Toy
Story. Yeah. And then also as well with that, the hug.
Yeah, that was a good moment.
I love that because it's like this Loki is not so different from the one that we've learned to know through all the films.
Yeah,
but he's like arguably better for having.
They fast tracked his character development in those first couple of episodes, and then basically had him continue to develop from where the Loki that we knew at the end of Ragnarok left off.
Yeah. I think all in all, probably the best episode so far, and I'm super excited for episode 6. But at the same time, I'm going to be very sad.
Do you think we're getting feature-length episodes? As the finale?
I think we'll get a full
hour and a half or so.
I think we'll get an hour and a half.
I don't think so, only because they haven't done that with any other show, and so I don't have my expectations that high.
One Division went from 30 minutes to an hour for the last episode.
To an hour, but not an hour and a half. I think we might get a solid hour.
Let's see what happens.
I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe we'll be disappointed. Maybe our minds will be blown. But I'm very excited to see how this all shakes out and what it's setting up going forward. Because we're back in the game now. Movies are coming out again, so it's the MCU is officially back up and running.
It's back up, baby. Speaking of, I watched Black Widow this week.
I didn't.
For those interested, I think it's a good film. And the post-credit scene has wider implications for the MCU and definitely leads into some of the upcoming projects that are coming out.
Oh, really? I thought it was just going to be very, by the numbers.
No. Straight up, yeah. There's it has some pretty wider implications for the MCU.
Nice.
I'll watch it at some point this week.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil it, so go watch that thing.
Yeah.
It's very good. It's a lot funnier than I expected as well, and all the performances are actually pretty good. And actually not too bad Russian accents.
Huh.
So it's everyone across the board pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, I was Russian accents. You always know. Go to the expert. Massimo.
Yes. Yeah. That's Vidania, comrades.
Yes. Yeah. He learned Russian as he was sitting by the fire drinking his hot Italian wine as a wee 8-year-old.
As my knockoff Kermit was
as your knockoff Kermit was being knitted and you watched Star Wars on Betamax.
With subtitles. Well, yeah, I think that's all we have time to talk about.
That's all we got time for today,
folks. Summary of this episode.
Yeah, very much.
Hour and 40 minutes of bullshit. I'm probably going to do a lot of editing on this one.
We can cut it down to 2 minutes. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. If you guys are still here and enjoying this episode, enjoing all this stuff, leave us a like.
You've got bad taste.
Yeah, you've got terrible taste.
If you're here and you're tolerating us still,
leave a like, leave a comment.
Go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. Give me that sick thumbs up.
Also, just
subscribe if you want to hear us talk more shit.
Hit that bell notification. Also, if you don't like us, tell us, please. We'd love to know why you don't like us.
Make a thumbs down. Give a thumbs down. Yeah. Give a big old Joaquin Phoenix big old thumbs down, like it's the Roman Empire.
Gladiator, all that good film.
Also, let us know your thoughts and your rankings on the Star Wars films as we go through.
We would love to hear your words that you say
also the latest episodes of Loki. Yeah. How good, bad, or ugly it was.
Basically, I need people to validate my opinion, so tell me what you think.
Exactly. Please do.
Ian checked out 5 minutes before we started, so yeah.
I checked out 24 hours before we started. Yeah, you can find us on the internet. We're BigGlasgowComicPage.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram as BGCP Comic Con. You can go there and yell words at us, and we'll see it, and we'll be like, "God, look at that guy. He's cool," or a dick. I don't know.
Engagement.
Depends what you say.
Yeah.
You guys got anything else? We got
Massimo,
when you doing interviews again? When's that coming back?
I don't know. I think a partial co-host and also first episode guest David Crana is going to start doing interviews as well, so you'll probably see a lot more from him. For myself, I'll probably be now and then. I've had to take a step back because of personal reasons and stuff, so hopefully people won't be missing me too much. But you guys definitely should check out all the interviews that we have so far on the channel with various different careers.
Several,
so many good ones.
We have at least
and you
6.
give us some love. There's at least 6.
7 in a row.
Exactly. But people should definitely have a look at them, not just to boost my ego, but to actually enjoy some interesting discussions with careers.
Yeah.
It's a lot more orderly than this. This is not a good. We should stop.
Yeah.
No. Fine. Look, you've brightened up now. Let's go again.
Oh no.
Rick and Morty. 100 years.
100
years
no.
ago.
Oh, jeez, Rick!
We'll see you all next week to talk about the sequel trilogy, in which I'm probably actually going to agree with you.
Well, it's not good.
Last
It's not
Jedi
good.
sucks.